Hello. I'm sitting out here on my back porch that I worked very hard on yesterday, and I built this gate, or makeshift gate, and wired in the sides, so now my dog and my cats have a new area to play without, I don't have to worry about, them running off. So this is my little fountain that I moved out here, and I like this. I like to put these on display. These are my, this is a opalized piece of wood. The matrix that it was in caused it to, basically, what happens is when a bone or any organic substance fossilizes, the minerals in the area where it is replace the organic material. And this takes a very long time in some cases, and in other cases it doesn't take that long because, it all depends on the circumstances. Here's another nice piece of petrified wood. This is just petrified wood. It's not opalized. It came from Saddle Mountain in eastern Washington, which I think is now, you can't go up there and get it anymore. This is another piece from Saddle Mountain. Eastern Washington used to be, this is a branch. You can see the rings of the tree in there. This was a branch, part of a branch. Eastern Mountain used to be a very lush forest. It had the ancient ginkgo trees and all kinds of stuff. And then there was some major volcanic activity. And now Eastern Washington is a very arid place. Very hot summers, very cold, snowy winters. But yeah, it's petrified wood. And, what frustrates me, and I'm not even a scientist, is creationists have this attitude like fossils are everywhere. They really aren't. They're very hard to find. And in some parts of the world, they don't happen very much at all because the conditions need to be right, and if they're not right, I mean, if you're buried in the ground, you're not going to necessarily become a fossil after so many, thousands or millions of years. I say thousands of years because if you find mammoth bones, most likely those are not turned to stone yet. They're just bones. They're still organic, but they're still called fossils because of the age, I believe, and they have changed somewhat. Anyway, so this is kind of show and tell. I wanted to show different things because I used to when I was younger. This came from Florida. I'm not exactly sure the name of it. I got this online. I can't say that I actually found this. It's got a label on the back, but I can't even really read. Anybody want to try to read it? That's what it's called. And it's rock. This is a rock. And this is something that I did get. We got a bunch of these in the Green River area in Wyoming. You split apart the shale, and it basically splits. You can kind of see the sides. It splits into pages, very thin pages, and between the pages are fossilized fish, or what's left of them. You can see the skeleton, you can see the spine of this fish. This is a very, very small fish. The one big one that we found, I let my husband have when we divorced. This guy was whole when we got him, but he has since met into catastrophe as these things happen. This is something I found in the Chuckanut area here in western Washington. This is just the impression of a clamshell in rock. It's an impression. It's technically a fossil. It's just not the actual, there's two different, there's the impression. This is also from the Chuckanut area. It's a little fern of some sort. The Chuckanut area is in western Washington. All these here that I'm going to show come from Chuckanut. What that used to be was this very lush tropical forest, palm trees and everything, if you can believe that. In Washington, yeah, palm trees. See the leaf? And I don't think there's anything on the other side. Nope. And what happened is, well, what they think happened, because nobody was actually there, is this whole area collapsed. There's another leaf. Look at the detail. And this is rock. The whole area collapsed upon itself, and the layers of mud, basically it's just layers and layers and layers of mud. Like if you had a pile of leaves in your backyard and you didn't pick it up, and then next summer you got another pile of leaves on top of that and you didn't pick it up. Well, it's kind of like that, and these leaves just kind of meshed together, and nothing on that side, and became the ground. This is our nice clear leaf right here. Became the ground, and turned to rock. There's another leaf up here. It's just overlapping leaves. That's all the floor of this part of the state of Washington is just overlapping leaves that have turned to stone. There's a little guy right there. I don't think there's anything on the other side. No. But yeah, so that's just part of my meager fossil collection. Hi. And you know, it's exciting to go out and dig. When I was a Christian, I was doing this. I was a Christian when I was an amateur paleontologist. I was, I considered it like I was appreciating the complexity of God's creation. And I'll never forget, I used to work at Dino Days. Once a year, the Burke Museum has Dino Days. And I was trying to get back into going to church. I was going to Westgate Chapel. And the pastor gets up and talks about how sinful it is to do anything in your life that doesn't glorify God. And he was making fun of Dino Days. He had taken his kids to the exhibit, and he was talking about how arrogant those people were because they acted like this was all real, you know, when it clearly wasn't real. and so afterwards I went up to him. I said, well, you know, why? Because he had said everything you have to do in your life, or everything you do in your life needs to glorify God. I said, you know what? I worked there. I was one of those people at the Burke Museum, and I consider paleontology glorifying God. And he's like, you know, his attitude was, well, it doesn't. It glorifies Satan. And that was probably the real major blow to my, or the major beginning to my deconversion. You know, many years later, the deconversion happened, but just that whole attitude about denying science, denying hard evidence. I mean, hello, this is hard evidence of a tree. This was a tree. This was once a living thing, and it took a long, long time to turn organic matter to stone. I mean, mammoths died out about 10,000 years ago. I think the last of them did. And they're not stone. You find mammoth bones or tusks of mammoth washed up on the shore. It's not stone. It's still organic. And that's like 10,000 years ago. For something to become stone, you're talking about a long, long time. And it just seems to me that, I guess what frustrates me most about religion, it's like, or at least Christianity, it's like if it's true, why are they afraid of science? Why are they afraid of exploration and discovery? You know, evolutionists or people who are constantly searching for answers are the first ones to admit that they're probably wrong. You know, okay, well, this is the accepted theory right now until we learn new things and find something to disprove what we think is true. And then once we find something that we think is more plausible, more fact-supported theory, we're going to go with that. I mean, science is constantly putting itself to the test and challenging itself and questioning and, you know, trying to disprove itself. Because what science is about is finding the truth, finding what happened. And nobody's ego is getting in the way. You know, no one's saying, well, my way is right, and no matter how much evidence you throw at me, I'm sorry, but my way is right. Once upon a time we used to think that bleeding somebody was how you cured disease. What about the guy that did that? Do you think he would have been upset if it had been discovered that something else worked better and that bleeding somebody actually didn't really do anything? People who are trying to understand the world and how the natural world works are looking for the truth. They're not looking for delusion. They're not looking for the first easy answer that comes along. Oh, God did it. Well, we don't understand this, so God did it. Yeah. And they're not afraid to find new things. They're not afraid to have their theories questioned and challenged and possibly thrown out because something more plausible comes along. But religion is like they're afraid to explore. And I don't mean all religions. I don't know enough about all the religions, but Christianity is what I'm talking about. They don't want to. They consider science their enemy. They talk on YouTube. They treat evolution like it's an enemy, like it's their foe. Like it's us versus them. And what do they have for their side? They don't even. I'm sorry. Creationism isn't even a theory. It's not. It's not an accepted theory. It's not. People say the theory of creationism is not. No. It's not a theory. It's not a science. You have to, for something to be a theory, it has to go through a rigorous process before it's, even accepted as a theory. Creationism is not a theory. It's an archaic idea and a very fallible book. A book that is written by questionable authors, that say they were divinely inspired by God. Well, okay, what if I said, God talked to me last night and he told me that I am Jesus, that I am the real child, his real child, that Jesus 2,000 years ago, that was one of the fake ones. But I'm the real one, and the real child of God is a woman because she represents life. Women bring life and conceive and bring life. So that's the real child of God is a woman, and that's me. And I am supposed to go out and witness to everybody and tell them the only way to heaven is through me. Would I be thrown into a cell with padded walls if I started running around calling myself the only child of God? God in the flesh on earth? Wouldn't I be thrown into a asylum somewhere? But 2,000 years ago, this guy's running around doing this, and they're saying, oh yeah, we believe you 100%. Actually, I don't really think that he was running around because I don't really think he existed. That's the other thing. It's like there's no evidence for Jesus. There's no evidence for Mithras or Krishna. Why is this one any more likely to have been real than the others? And what really gets me too is these modern day Christians don't understand that the original Christians did not believe in a historical Jesus. The original Christians believed in like the death and resurrection of Jesus all happened on a spiritual plane. It didn't actually happen on this earth. Paul was Gnostic. And anyway, I'm totally digressing. I guess my point is, I trust science because science isn't demanding that it's right. It's not demanding that I believe it, and if it doesn't make any sense, I should just have faith that it's right anyway. Science is constantly trying to find a better answer. And it does the work. It doesn't just hold up a dusty book and say, well, this says it's this way, so it must be true.